Welcome back to Video Rental Chaos. Today we're diving into a movie about when you mix a haunted hotel, writer's block, and more red flags than a toxic relationship. That's right, because on my drive home from the Overlook Hotel today, I stopped off at my local video store and I rented The Shining. Jack Torrance didn't lose his mind. Nope, it just packed its bags, took the elevator full of blood, and said peace out. Alright folks, grab your tricycles, avoid room 237, and let's follow Jack Torrance on the worst family vacation ever. The Shining is like a DIY project gone horribly wrong. Yeah honey, I'll just write my novel and not go insane in this creepy haunted hotel. Spoiler alert, he absolutely does not keep it together. Between psychic kids, rivers of blood, and Jack Nicholson's eyebrows doing most of the acting, this movie is a masterpiece of madness. So grab your axe, tell your bartender ghost you'll have the usual, and let's jump right on into The Shining. The movie opens with Jack Torrance driving through the mountains of the Overlook Hotel for his job interview. So Jack sits down with the manager of the hotel, Mr. Ullman, who tells him about the winter caretaker job. He also casually mentions that a previous caretaker, Grady, lost his mind and, well, killed his whole family. Well, Jack isn't bothered by this at all, which is the first hint that maybe, just maybe, something isn't right with him. While Jack's at the interview, we meet Danny and his mom, Wendy, back at their apartment. Danny starts talking to his imaginary friend, Tony, who lives in his mouth, and wiggles Danny's finger when he speaks. Danny has a terrifying vision of blood pouring out of an elevator, and we get our first taste of how disturbing this movie is. Jack picks up Wendy and Danny, and they drive to the Overlook Hotel. The family gets a full tour of the massive, empty hotel. Mr. Ullman shows them around and explains the layout. We also meet Mr. Halloran, the chef who takes a special interest in Danny. He talks to Danny telepathically and explains The Shining. He warns Danny to stay away from room 237. The Torrance family explores the hotel grounds, including the giant hedge maze. Danny and Wendy have fun in the maze, but there's an uneasy feeling inside the hotel. Jack sets up his typewriter in the big hall. Wendy checks on him and Jack snaps at her, telling her to leave him the fuck alone. Jack is already showing signs that things are bothering him. He just stares out the window looking disconnected from reality. As Danny is riding his tricycle through the long, empty halls of the hotel, he turns a corner and runs into the two twin girls. They just stand there staring at him. It's super creepy, and Danny doesn't know what to make of it. So Jack has a breakdown at his desk. Wendy finds him slumped over, screaming about a nightmare where he killed her and Danny. This moment shows just how unstable Jack is becoming, and Wendy starts getting really scared. During this scene, Danny ignores Halloran's warning as he sneaks into room 237. We don't see what happens, but when he comes out, he has bruises on his neck and is clearly traumatized. Wendy thinks Jack hurt him, which only makes things worse between them. We also find the scene where Jack breaks his sobriety as he goes in to find the ghost bartender. He ends up getting the usual and is told that his credit is fine. So Jack goes into room 237 to see what scared Danny. Inside, he finds a naked woman in the bathtub. At first, she seems beautiful and Jack kisses her. But then, she turns into a rotting old corpse, laughing hysterically. Jack freaks out and runs out of the room. Back in Florida, Mr. Halloran senses that something bad is happening at the Overlook. He flies back to Colorado and drives through the snowstorm to get to the hotel. We also get a scene where Jack stumbles again into the hotel ballroom. But instead of just being alone with the bartender, this time there's an entire party going on. Unfortunately, one of the butlers spills a drink onto Jack. He ends up taking him into the bathroom to clean him up. This is where Jack realizes that this ghost is Grady himself, the previous caretaker who had killed his own family. At this point, Grady tells him that he needs to take care of Danny and Wendy, as Danny is telepathically summoning Halloran to come save them. Jack is now on a mission. Wendy checks on Jack's writing, hoping to see some sort of progress. Instead, she finds pages and pages filled with the same sentence. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. This is the moment Wendy realizes just how far gone Jack is. Wendy confronts Jack with a baseball bat, begging him to leave the hotel with her and Danny. Jack slowly walks towards her, taunting her. Wendy manages to hit him with the bat, knocking him down the stairs. She locks him in the pantry to keep him away from her. While Jack is locked in the pantry, he talks to the ghost of Mr. Grady, the previous caretaker. The pantry door mysteriously unlocks, setting Jack free. Meanwhile, Jack is on the loose looking for Wendy and Danny. Jack grabs an axe and starts chopping through the door of the bathroom, where Wendy is hiding. He sticks his face through the broken door and shouts, "Here's Johnny!" This scene is pure terror and is a classic scene from the movie. Just when you think Halloran is going to save the day, Jack jumps out and kills him with the axe. It's such a brutal moment, you really feel the hopelessness here. Jack chases Danny into the snow-covered hedge maze. Danny is smart enough though, as he backtracks in the snow to confuse Jack. Jack gets lost in the maze, freezing to death as Danny escapes with Wendy. We end The Shining as we see Jack frozen in the snow, completely gone. The film ends with a haunting shot of an old photo on the wall of the hotel, showing Jack at a party from 1921. Just like Jack said earlier in the film, it's like he's always been a part of the Overlook. This movie is still one of the scariest I've ever seen. Watching it for the first time when I was 13, you're damn right I couldn't sleep that night. The tension, the atmosphere, and the slow descent into madness make it so unforgettable. And Jack Nicholson, man, what an actor. His performance is legendary. He makes crazy look way too real. The music in this movie is incredible. It's not just background noise, it's part of what makes the movie so terrifying. Every sound adds to the fear, making you feel like something bad is always around the corner. And let's not forget Wendy with that cigarette. I don't know how that ash stays on so long, but it's hilarious to see it every time. Kubrick was a genius, and we don't have filmmakers like him anymore. This kind of slow burn artistic horror just doesn't get made today. It's a lost time in Hollywood. In the end, The Shining is a masterpiece, okay? We love this movie, and it will always be one of our favorites. So take my warning, stay out of room 237, and I'll see you at the video store.